Hello, welcome to Alone in the South Passage with another new week of Star Wars.
Hooray!
Stefan, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you, David.
Good.
I'm all right. I'm enjoying new Star Wars every week.
Good.
For the next
Are you
few
excited
weeks.
to talk about the Acolyte episode 3,
Very excited.
which I've
very excited.
neglected to write down the name of?
Oh, it's called Destiny.
I've got it in front of me, actually. So based on our discussion last week of whether they're going to carry on the two-part thing,
Yeah,
no.
that's gone out the window.
But based upon the content of this episode, as in the actual episode of the Acolyte, not the episode of this podcast,
Yes.
I think we'll see why it's that. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
No, I think you're right. I
Maybe.
think you're right.
And maybe
Well,
next week, if they get back to current day, or current day for that story at least,
Yeah.
they might return to that episode title structure.
Yes. So I think it's a good point. Just as we said that the dual name had a significance, I think purposely choosing the single name for this particular episode is also indicative of that. So,
But at this
so
point,
technically we're still right.
probably seems pertinent to give a spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
We will be talking about the Acolyte episode 3 at length, so if you haven't already watched it, please feel free to go away and come back later. That warning is applicable of now.
Everyone
So-
dies.
Everyone just stop what they're doing. Right, okay. That's that out of the way.
Yes.
As you say, Acolyte episode 3, we'll be talking about it throughout the episode. If you have any thoughts of your own and would like to share them with us, please feel free to get in contact with us on the normal channels, email aloneinthesouthpassage@gmail.com, social media at AITSP_podcast, or at the top of the episode description, you'll see send us a message. You can do it through that as well, assuming you're using a mobile phone or a tablet. Other than that, don't use it.
Yes.
About right? Good.
Yeah.
God, we get quicker and slicker at that every week. It's good.
You are.
It's
It's
good.
just taken a short year and a half to get
It's
there.
taken a year and a half to remind people that we do have contact details.
Yes.
Either way. Right, so spoilers out. Right, Steph,
Yes.
I had a little sneak peek at the internet today,
Oh.
which is always a mistake. I didn't go
Yeah.
into any detail about people's reviews, feelings, whatever else on this, because
Right. You don't care.
I don't care. Other than what I just said about people getting into contact with us, I do care, honestly.
We care about those people.
I care about those
Yeah.
people. We care about the listeners.
Not about people more successful than us.
But while obviously doing some episode research, I use my normal tool of IMDb. Mm-hmm. And this episode currently has a score of 4
Out of 10.
out of 10.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion. But seriously?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? Where's your view on it?
Unlike you, I have plumbed the depths of the internet for people's reviews of this and reactions and so on. And I have to say I was surprised because I feel like this episode was stronger than what we've seen before. In terms of storytelling and maintaining my interest and getting me a bit excited about the series as a whole. So I think 4 is very harsh, but for balance, I do also understand where some of that kind of rhetoric is coming from. And there are obviously some very valid opinions out there. There are also some grown men crying over the fact that it's not exactly what they want it to be.
No.
There's a lot of that going on as well.
All Star Wars should be made just for them and no one else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I had a brief chat. We did have a bit of correspondence on this from a listener, Tony from Sweden, dropped us a line.
Hello, Tony.
Yeah, thanks for getting in touch, Tony. And his main gripe with it is he just felt like there's so many other stories that Disney could be telling. He doesn't feel like this is what they should be focusing on.
I mean, Disney are going to be making this shit for years.
Well, yeah.
There are lots of other stories they could tell and probably will tell.
They'll get around to it all eventually, I think, won't
Indeed.
they? Yeah. But he's hoping to see Yoda and Darth Plagueis in this. But I'm pretty sure it's been established we're not going to see Yoda.
Yeah, I don't think we need to see Yoda. I mean, I actually was conversing with someone on social media the other day, and I had that very same thing where I said, like, if we see Yoda, great. If we don't see him, also great. I don't need to see him. I don't think it adds anything to the story. I think
No.
the story is very much centered on these 4 Jedi and the twins. We don't need to see what else is going on around.
Yeah, and I actually think it would kind of cheapen it in some way to pull a trick like that, just to tie it to something else for the sake of it. If it kind of served the narrative and it was done with respect and you know, with good cause, then yeah, by all means. Yeah. But you know, we talked before about how they shoehorn the droids into everything. It's like don't turn Yoda into that, for God's sake. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, ultimately, it's like saying, well, you know, I see you're making a story about this company. This company's got 2,000 employees. I demand to see every single one of them, please.
Yes, exactly.
Right, okay. What? Hey, what? No.
Yeah.
It's not how it works.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But he did make some other good points as well. He mentioned how this series had double the budget of Kenobi.
Really?
And 180 odd million. In fact, some estimate up to $200 million for this series, which, just for comparison, is what Amazon spend on House of the Dragons, or a series of Stranger Things might cost.
Well, okay. So hang on. So what do we think the budget was for Kenobi?
Well, about 60. No, not about 90 million.
90 million, and we think that this was what, 100 and what?
About 180. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think the point is, where they spent that.
It is 30% longer.
Well, that's a good point. No, yeah, absolutely. So there is that.
33% more episodes.
Well, there you go. That's obviously going to come at a much higher cost. We are also a couple more years down the line as well. You could say maybe inflation and
cost of living affects Disney as well.
Exactly. And you know, obviously, you think now with all the writers' strikes and everything that they're crossing the T's and dotting all the I's in terms of wages and so on as well.
And as you mentioned last week, not using the volume and using real sets instead. That's probably where most of the money's gone.
I think that's a really good counterpoint, and I have no qualms at all them spending the money on that extra real stuff.
And I don't think I think Lee Young Jae, if I pronounce that correctly, I don't think he comes cheap. No. I don't think Carrie-Anne Moss comes cheap.
No.
Now I know the counterpoint to that would be, well, Ewan McGregor doesn't come cheap. No. I think Ewan McGregor's contract is probably structured quite differently.
Yeah.
I reckon he's got producers. He makes money on the back end of it rather than he did as a talent.
That's absolutely true. He had producer credits on that.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean that's fair. If those numbers are accurate, that's fair. That is fair. But again, with 3 out of 8 episodes in, I mean, what? There's a lot left to happen.
There is. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They're entitled to their opinion, and Tony, you make some very valid points. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fair enough. There's plenty of things in the world I don't like, but
there is.
I do think to be writing it off purely because you don't like that things haven't been included yet.
Yeah,
I mean they may not get included, but we're also only 3 out of 8 episodes in.
Yeah. I mean, we're angry about something that hasn't happened yet and could still happen. It's it's a bit early for that.
Quite.
But and this episode did continue what I was saying last week about, and I guess this ties into maybe budget as well. But we get introduced to another new planet, Brendok. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a kind of, here's a wide shot of a mountain or a hillside or something, and then everything else is like 2 interior sets kind of thing. And it's like missing that sweeping grandeur of Star Wars. It's too claustrophobic for me.
Not think the bit where they're outside the Jedi's ship.
Yeah. That could be anywhere. And I'm not saying it has to be.
It could be anywhere.
it's just in terms of wanting to lose myself in this drama and this alien world.
I see.
It's not quite roped me in that respect.
No, I see what you mean. There's not quite that escapism yet.
Yeah,
Could be anywhere on planet Earth.
it could, I guess. Yeah, and it's I wouldn't mind just seeing a planet from space. Just
You mean actually is a wide shot of a? Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just feels like a sitcom. Like, here's the outside of the house during the opening credits, and now you're in the set.
They need to get a bit of like slap bass in there or something. Bow, 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 bow.
That's it. Yeah.
And they come out, like, Master Soul comes out and it was like, yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely what I want Star Wars to be.
Oh my God, I can't believe I lost my Padawan again. Stupid old me. Ha.
I want it to be Seinfeld or something like that. That's really what Star Wars fans want, I think. Yeah, totally. But it's, if we'll talk about the plot a bit. So this whole episode was
talk about the plot. We chat for 20 minutes. We've not mentioned the plot yet.
Yeah, just felt like let's move on to something that is actually real talk.
This is what happens. This is what happens when we invite listeners to get involved.
Well, that's it. When we love it, we love it. So the whole episode is set 16 years prior to what we've seen in episodes 1 and 2.
Yes.
So it's kind of the whole thing's a flashback, I guess.
Yeah.
You could say, isn't it?
Laying pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose you could. Why not?
Why not? So I guess that's the first thing, and it's. I suppose it's more of a talking point around. Did we need a whole episode of a flashback? Could it have been done, kind of sewn into the current day narrative? Do you think?
Maybe, but I don't know. That's one of the liberties you get with the series, isn't it? You get the ability to break off.
Yeah.
And do something a bit different, and that's what I find weird about some of the vitriol and general negativity towards this. It's like I think a lot of the criticism seems to almost be people are viewing it like they would a movie, where they're like, I need every episode for me needs to be like an act for a movie that tells that is brilliant. Where it's like, well, actually, it's just. You've got to look at the overall narrative and the overall arc, and we'll only know at the end of the series whether or not this episode and the story it told was worth being told over an episode. I don't think we can say that in the prism of just one single episode. It was worth it or it wasn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think absolutely. And we were saying last week about how episodes 1 and 2 were fairly breakneck in terms of their pace, weren't they?
Yes.
And we mentioned actually maybe having a pause and doing a bit of character development wouldn't be a bad idea. And I think we got that here in spades.
We did. And I'll be honest. I perhaps they ladled it on a little bit heavy with demonstrating just how different the twins are.
Yeah.
Like we got a lot of stuff that said, oh, by the way, they were different when they were kids, as well, and this is why they're different now. I'd be honest, when it started, I thought they might go the other way, where they might show that perhaps when they were kids, the roles were reversed slightly. I thought that'd have been an interesting thing to do.
They could have done that.
May was, hang on, I've got to remember which way around they are. So May was a little bit of like
towed the line a bit more.
Yeah, maybe May was. She was. I don't know. May wasn't. She in a way she does toe the line.
Yes,
and it's Osha who's the rebellious one.
Yeah,
but not in the way that.
Not in a murderous way.
No, quite. And I think, there was maybe a little bit too much time spent on. Oh, by the way, they're different.
Yes,
she wants this. She wants that.
That definitely could have been done more efficiently, couldn't it?
Yeah,
like a few more minutes less spent on that.
Yeah,
like you say, it was kind of a we get it,
But again, there's it's also that aspect of, I guess it is telling us and showing us that not from just a perspective of having different personalities, but what their motivations are. Because I think we see that Osha's kind of like intellectually curious. She wants to know what's going on in the outside world. She wants to see
Yeah.
the possibilities of things outside of what she knows. And May is just a bit like, no, I love my life. I want to be here. And
Yeah.
I don't need to see anything else because I know this is what I want. And I think that's, yeah, you can't really blame them for that given what they've been exposed to. Certainly from...
They've been brought up the same, though.
They have been brought
So
up
it's
the same.
so did it. It didn't actually explain why they're different because they are literal twins.
Literal.
whose, you know, in terms of nature and nurture, should be identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, turned out different.
It only takes subtle differences, particularly in nurture. It only takes
Yeah.
a subtle little bit of input here different, a little bit of input there different, and
There you go.
there you go.
So either this is subtle or it isn't, but it's sort of it's doing both. It's beating us over the head
Yes,
with its subtleties.
beating us overhead, but a little bit too subtle in places. I think you feel like you've missed something there.
Yeah, good writing.
It's like when you've got a essay question in an exam, and you just basically you know a little bit, so you just keep repeating that, but then you miss out a key point because you don't really know the subject well enough.
Yeah. It's just like that.
It's just like that. It's just like show us what's different.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, so we had some questions last week, and we thought we were going to get some answers to them, and I suppose in a way this did answer some of those questions.
Yeah, my prediction about the thing about the hyperspace lanes. Yeah, that's wrong. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Actually, what happens is one of the kids commits arson. That's it.
Yeah,
and kills
Yeah.
everyone she's trying to save. I mean, that was weird logic. That was
very weird.
That's why if I can't have you, no one's having you.
I mean, it's. Do you? Were we literally supposed to believe that May setting fire to that journal burnt the whole mountain down? Because I was sort of thinking, have I missed something, or is there more to this that
you could burn a house down with a single cigarette?
I suppose so.
I think.
But it just felt like everyone was dead within 30
The
seconds.
saying goes, it only takes one tree to make 1,000 matches.
Yes.
It only takes one match to burn 1,000 trees.
And I wish I could remember the name of that band. It's that Welsh rock band.
That Welsh lot.
Them lot, those guys. The no.
Manic Street Preachers?
No, it's not the Manic
I
Street
know.
Preachers.
I know who it is. I'm not telling you. Just,
Okay,
I'm gonna
right.
let you wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. Go, fuck!
More likely you'll be in mid-flow of something and I'll just scream it out as it comes to mind. Yes!
Anyway, yes.
Anyway.
But no, I mean, I'll be honest. That whole scene felt like it happened a little quickly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in the same breath, how much of that do we need to see?
Well, enough to make it credible, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the
be
whole place
my-
is made of wax or something. I don't know.
Tinder.
Yeah,
The whole place made of dry wheat.
indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope there's more to that, because if it's just, I don't want you to leave, so I'm going to kill everyone, then that seems I don't know. I'm not totally buying the motives.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't quite sit right with me, that.
No.
She's like, you can't leave, so I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought that at the time. I was like, that's a bit over the top.
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, yeah. Okay, there's dark side tendencies, but Anakin wasn't doing anything that bad at her age, was he?
He didn't hang around once he was older, though, did he?
No, he did not. But I mean, it'd be nice to see someone. I mean, she's literally a child psychopath.
Yeah,
And it's maybe it would have been nice to see more of a progression to the dark
But
tendencies.
then again, maybe I don't know. Maybe we will get more flashbacks later on.
Well, what it didn't answer was what Prince King Tommen's regret was. Because we said last week where he's like,
I think it's pretty straightforward. Just essentially forcibly removing a child from the bosom of their home.
Really? What sort of point did he meditate for 10 years and then kill himself?
I don't know. Yeah, but we don't know. Something else might happen.
He
We
was
don't
just
know.
a Padawan along for the ride anyway.
Yeah, exactly. He's not making decisions, but
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe there is more to come. We've got to give it a chance
I know.
to tell more of the story.
What I'm saying is I hope there's more to come, because if that is now left,
Yes.
then I do question some of the writing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. No, agreed. But I'll come back to my earlier point of we need to see it in its entirety
Yeah,
to find out.
absolutely.
I mean, I remember saying I remember like I've lost track now of the amount of series I've watched where you're talking to someone about it, and let's say you're 50-60% of the way through it, and they're like, "Oh, is it any good?" And my honest answer, generally speaking, is I won't know until it's finished.
Yeah.
Because if they end it, they can end it one way, which makes the rest shit,
It could pivot on a dime.
or they can end it another way, which makes the rest brilliant.
It's very true.
That is always the way. It's always the way. And I just like, as I say, I've got
This
no
is
time
the
for
way.
looking at individual episodes in
Isolation.
Indeed.
Well, that's a shame, because that's what we're doing every week.
That's what we're doing everywhere. No, but but we can talk about the whole.
We can.
Yes.
Yes.
I think as I say, we might see more. We may see more, but I think we've got an interesting look into the Jedi and their relationship with the Force and the overall use of the Force in other areas, because I don't think although we've seen the Sith before, we've never really ever seen. I know we saw the Witches of Dothamir in Ahsoka, but there's no mention in that of them using the Force.
No,
Maybe
they call it magic, don't they?
Possibly what they're harnessing. But in this, we see the witches, and we see Mother in Anisea, who's the mother of the twins, leading.
Well, they seem to have two mothers, don't they?
Yes, who Coral, who I'll be honest, when I first saw her, just thought was someone in some bad Darth Maul cosplay. It's like,
well, yeah. That's because they're the same species.
Got out and got some cheap face paint.
They ran out of red and black, though. I had to go with paler,
pink and grey, or
pastel more.
Yeah, they do have two mothers,
pastel.
but and I'd imagine that's probably wound some people up. I don't.
Oh, hasn't it just?
I don't want to cast aspersions on certain people's narrow-minded views.
No, we don't need men anymore in this world.
Yeah,
women.
God, just trying to get rid of the men.
Bunch of these bloody lesbian witches.
Why are men always
patriarchy.
persecuted? Either way. Anyway.
The Force is female.
Force is female. Anyway, so what was I trying to say? But anyway, we see these witches, but we get reference to sort of that example of dueling religions, and I was kind of like, and it shows that the Jedi don't necessarily have proprietary rights over the Force, despite that they're clearly trying to monopolize it. Yes,
they called it the threads. They said, didn't it? It's threads. Some call it the Force. We refer to it as threads, and it was interesting, and it kind of carried on what Rian Johnson was trying to say in The Last Jedi before people tried to erase it. Yeah, exactly. Because Luke has a line in that, doesn't he, where it says when he's doing Rey's training montage, and he says something like, you need to understand that the Jedi don't have any more right to use the Force than anyone else.
Yep.
This is something that belongs to the universe, not just to us.
Yep.
And there's a line in this which kind of resonated with me, which I hope I've written down somewhere. This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Ooh.
I thought that was a good line. I liked that.
Very good line. Good writing.
And that was good writing. There's a very thought-provoking bit of dialogue there, and very much the episode stuck to that theme, didn't it? And and I think this is where the edginess is trying to come in. It's like we were saying before, the romantic view of the Jedi being, like you say, monopolizing the Force, using it as a tool to police and impose their will on the universe. And actually, is that the best use of this power? And
quite.
And should they be?
There's that moment by Indara where she's speaking to the witches, and she's basically she's almost like reciting the rules of the Republic. And she'd be
textbook stuff.
You know, we have the right to test these kids, and
Yeah.
it's the Republic law states that we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Although the rules are very flexible on how old children can be when they get trained.
Yes. Too old to begin the training.
I mean, Luke was definitely too old.
Yeah.
But Anakin apparently was too old. And he must have been the same age or younger than Osha and May. So it's,
We don't know.
you know, whose rule is this, and why are they not sticking to it?
Oh, they make whatever
It's all over the
suits
place,
you.
isn't it?
Casting people. They're like, stop casting older kids. We can't
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
right. Well, they can't literally have babies before they're allowed to be trained. Well, actually, yeah. Sol told us he was 4. I think, did he say he was 4
I was
when
much
he was
younger
being
than you
trained?
when I was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird process that, but I think maybe we'll cover that a little bit more after we've had a little break. One more word on the witches beforehand, because I think it does, despite the fact that they're going to clearly say some negative things because of their view of the Jedi and whatever else.
Yeah.
But in terms of painting a bit more of a picture of the Jedi as maybe not these perfect beings who are all about peace and harmony and balance, they are. I think it's Mother Anisea speaks, and she's like, talks about them being exiled and pushed to the brink of extinction,
Yeah.
and it's like genocide,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. That seems to be what they're getting at, doesn't it? It's
Yeah,
persecution of non-Jedi Force users.
indeed. I mean, I've got to say, in this, given the way the Jedi operate, not quite in as a barbaric as a way, but they kind of, I get that sort of Knights Templar feel.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Like the Crusade.
yeah,
Sort of thing.
little bit more on the civilized side.
Yeah.
They do it by identifying children, testing them, and saying, "Yeah, we'll have them."
We'll have that.
I don't know. There were certainly moments where their methods felt quite like blackmail. They didn't seem to leave the witches with a lot of choice.
No. Well, I don't think they were very happy that there was a witches' coven there in the first
No.
place. I think that got their shackles up,
Yeah,
their heckles.
but you mentioned Soul's comment as well about, I was 4 when I was taken,
Yeah.
and it's like amongst the Jedi that behaviour is kind of just normalised. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Literal
fine. It's fine.
building up a child army,
Yeah.
just, removing them from their families and indoctrinating them in their weird
Indeed.
religion.
And then later leaving them to be slaughtered by one of their masters,
Oh.
who wasn't a master.
No.
Don't mention that to him.
If he was, none of that would have happened.
Indeed, he would have been happy.
Yeah. So that's their own fault.
Indeed. Okay. Right, should we take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll discuss this further, because I feel like this is the first time, really, in over a year and a bit, where we've been quite negative. Not negative, but we're definitely leaning on the fence. We're wobbling on it.
Okay.
So let's take a break, come back and see what else we've got to say about episode 3.